Hello, I am Xarkun, and this is World of Warships Legends. On the screen here you see my build for level 12, Philip Vian. Got a level 14, Bay, and level 10, Azerlane Atago, inspiring him. He is the commander I have chosen to command HMS Gallant, new Tier 5 premium British destroyer, and the ship that I will be featuring in my first review as, officially, a community contributor for World of Warships Legends. Now, we're going to be on shards for this game, domination mode. Of course, we're in HMS Gallant, flying the community contributor flag, and rocking the community contributor patch background, which, I don't know, it's something that I kind of think is cool. Hopefully you guys do. I like the background on the patch for my sloth. Looks good. And, thank you guys for all of your support. There's no way I would be a community contributor without your help, so I appreciate it. Anyway, Gallant, what's the story on this ship? Well, cover the most obvious stat here. This ship has 12,000 hit points, and I'm going to be comparing it to its Tier 5 tech tree counterpart, the Icarus. The Icarus has, wait for it, 100 more hit points than the Gallant, so not a huge difference at all. The guns, they're almost virtually identical. Gallant and Icarus have 4 120mm guns. They have a 5-second reload time, 18-second 180-degree turn time. The only difference, the guns on the Gallant here, with my Vian build, fire out to 10.8 kilometers, and with the same build on the Icarus, they fire out to 11. So, 0.2 kilometer difference for whatever that's worth. Torpedoes, which we just fired, and I think we hit one on that Furutaka. Again, pretty much the same story. The torpedoes on the Gallant do 15,433 max damage, which is exactly the same as on the Icarus. They have a 1.2 kilometer sea detectability range like the Icarus, and that, of course, is influenced by the Azerlane Atago inspiration. They go at 61 knots and reach out 8 kilometers. The major difference between the Gallant and the Icarus, well, the Gallant has 8 torpedoes in 2 quadruple launchers, whereas the Icarus has 10 torpedoes in 2 quintuple launchers, and the Gallant's torpedoes reload quicker by about 24 seconds. And that is 96 seconds on the Gallant versus 120 on the Icarus. That's a pretty significant difference. It certainly feels like these torpedoes cycle a lot quicker to me than they do on the Icarus. I played like 1 game in the Icarus and about 10 games in this ship to sort of get a feel for it. And it does feel like these torpedoes shoot, you can release them quite a bit quicker. Talk about the speed real quick. Gallant goes at 36 knots for its max speed. Icarus, 35.5, so the Gallant is half a knot faster. They both have a 540-meter turning circle radius and a 3.3-second rudder shift time. And they both have the same concealment at 5.6 kilometer detectability by sea. So, essentially, apart from a couple less torpedoes and a slightly quicker torpedo reload cycle, the Gallant and the Icarus, in terms of weaponry, armament, whatever you want to call it, firepower, are almost essentially the same ship. Really, the key difference lies in the consumables available to both the Gallant and the Icarus. Take a look, though, at these torpedoes. Don't think this Bayern was expecting them. Maybe he didn't realize I was there, but he knows now. And he's going back to port after that devastating strike. Of course, the ship does have the capability to fire its torpedoes in the tube-by-tube sequence, like all other British destroyers. That's something, it's the unique quirk of the line, and the Gallant, I am happy to report, shares that quirk. But the real story is in the difference in consumables. Now, the Icarus, like all of the other tech tree British destroyers, comes with 6 charges of the smoke consumable, but each of those charges lasts for only 40 seconds, so short duration smoke. Gallant here, on the other hand, comes with 2 charges of the smoke consumable, and its smoke consumable lasts for 81 seconds. So, quite a bit longer than the smokes that you'd find on a typical British destroyer or on the Icarus. Not anywhere near as long as, say, an American smoke screen. I think it's more on par with the Germans or the Japanese. And then, of course, the Gallant comes with 2 engine boost consumables. Now, I've never played the Cossack, so I'm not sure what consumables that particular destroyer comes with. But, to my knowledge, across all the British destroyers I've played, this is the only one with an engine boost consumable. And really, these 2 things, in my opinion, are the things that set this ship apart from its tech tree counterpart. As far as whether those 2 consumables are advantages or disadvantages, I suppose that's more up to the player, you, and your playstyle. I mean, do you like the short duration British smokes, or do you prefer the longer duration smokes that you can kind of sit in and farm damage against enemy battleships, or whatever you do when you're sitting in smoke screens? Be careful if you do intend to do that with this ship, though, because, as you might have noticed, it does not come with the sonar consumable. So when this Fubuki fires torpedoes at me, I'm not going to have any advanced warning. I'm just going to have to maneuver, and luckily this ship is pretty maneuverable. It kind of zips through the water very nicely, and it turns on a dime. It's pretty nice in that way, but the same could be said for the Icarus. So, no sonar on this ship, and the British destroyer sonar is, if you've ever used it, pretty good. They tend to be pretty long duration, which is quite nice, and if I had that sonar, I'd probably be able to detect this Fubuki before getting this close to him. As it stands, though, this is not that big of a deal. He doesn't have any support around him to cause me trouble, so it's just me versus him. I have a much quicker reload than he does, and he's already played his cards in terms of torpedoes, so I'm pretty easily able to take him down there. Enemy Warspite B in the only cap controlled by the red team. He's got no health, so I'm going to shoot at him a little bit. I can tell you that, these are low-caliber destroyer guns. It seems to me like they get a lot of shatters against battleships, and the 8% fire chance, I don't necessarily think that's bad, but, we got to fire on the Warspite, and that fire is going to kill him, so there he goes. Seems to me, this could just be my imagination, but it seems like this particular destroyer isn't as reliable at starting fires as some of the other British destroyers. Your mileage may vary on that, I don't know. In any case, is there a major difference between this destroyer and its tech tree counterpart? Not really, apart from the consumables, and I can imagine that the lack of sonar would be a problem for some people. It certainly puts this particular ship at a disadvantage in terms of competitive game modes, like, for example, ranked. I don't know that there's a good case to be made that you would want to bring the Gallant into a ranked battle over, either the Icarus, which has sonar, or something like the Gaeta, which has sonar, bigger guns, and more hit points. But if you are a fan of the British destroyers, this is something you might want to pick up just for the sake of collecting the British destroyers, I guess. The smokescreen consumable and the engine boost, I don't know that they give this destroyer any distinct advantage over its tech tree counterpart, but they give its play style a little bit of a different flavor, I guess. What I'm about to do here against this final remaining enemy, sit in a smokescreen, park myself, and just kind of farm damage off of him. I am going to get quite a few fires. So, maybe my impression of this not being a fantastic fire starter is a little bit misguided. I had another game in this where I got quite a bit more damage, and I shot at a Fuso for a long time. I got 0 fires. I must have hit him like 20, 30 times. So, I don't know, maybe he just had a really good anti-fire build. In any case, would you want to pick this ship up? I don't think I personally am, although I can't say I didn't have fun in it. I do like the British destroyers. I like them a lot for their short duration smokescreen. This one doesn't have it, so it kind of has a different flavor, as I said. But, I enjoyed my time in the 10 games I played in it to get this review. Not something I'm necessarily going to pick up, but, you might like it if you're a fan of the Royal Navy destroyers. It's certainly not bad. And with that, the game ends in my team's victory. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already done that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.